I've been waiting. Sunshine, while you playing with my head on the time. You go way out of line.
Hey, it's your girl Serene, and welcome back to my channel. And if you're new to my channel, welcome to my channel. Thanks for visiting. Please do not forget to subscribe, give me a thumbs up, share, leave a comment if you feel the need to, and don't forget to hit that notification bell on your way out so you'll be made aware every time I upload a video. Okay? Thank you in advance for doing so. Mwah. Now, y'all gonna excuse what's going on with my hair right now, but I wanted to bring this video. This is Thursday night, and I want to put this video up for y'all Friday, which will be tomorrow. Today is officially the second day of the Edgecomb Vs Wisconsin trial. If you are not made aware of what this trial is about, basically, to give a short summary, Mr. Theodore Edgecomb is claiming self-defense from a Mr. Cleereman. I cannot remember his first name, although I'm sure I have it in these notes here. And maybe not. Okay, anyway, Mr. Cleereman, they have a video where you see Mr. Cleereman get out of his car, run up, because he ran. He gets out his car, runs up to Theodore Edgecomb. The video is so far away, you do not know what was said or what he did, but whatever it is, Mr. Edgecomb shoots him in the face. So he's claiming self-defense, and the prosecution is stating that he basically picked a fight and then murdered the man. So for day one, they had 2 police officers testify. But first off, before I get into this, I would just like to say this judge, very mean. This judge, let me see if I have the judge name. I don't see it, but I will have it for you the next video. But he seems very, very mean towards the defense, even as going as far as chastising them in front of the jury on something that he shouldn't even been chastised about. But that's a different story. Anywho, I just wanted to get that out. Opening statements was done yesterday, and then two detectives started as the first 2 witnesses for yesterday. Today will have been the second day of the trial. We had the rest of the testimony from the second police officer from the first day. This started out this morning, and then we had 2 eyewitnesses and a coroner's doctor who is not the one who's. I'm gonna get into that. A doctor from the coroner office, and then another lady police officer who I believe collected the video footage of what they have. Now, let's go through. Now, for day one, the opening statements the opening statements were crazy, because you're basically sitting there listening to 2 completely different stories. According to the prosecution, for no reason at all, Theodore Edgecomb pulled up to the victims. Well, I'm not going to call him a victim on my channel. I'm going to say Theodore Edgecomb pulled up to, I believe his first name is jasoncleereman, and who was sitting in the passenger seat of his car. His wife was driving, stuck his arm in the window and punched him, and rolled his bike off. and they chose to follow him, to catch up to him, and he wanted a fist fight. And Theodore Edgecomb used excessive reasonable force by shooting him, even though he had no weapon in hand. Now that's the prosecution, summed up version of what happened. Defense, their version of what happened goes like this. There was a first encounter of Mrs. Cleereman, who's driving, swerving into the bike lane that Theodore Edgecomb was in, riding his bike, and nearly hit him so closely that he literally had to drive off the street into the sidewalk. Then said, "What the F, nigger, get out the way." That's what he stated was said to him. So that is when he got back to riding his bike, caught up to the car, who was at a red light, pulled up on the side, asked him who he was talking to, and they have a video, but I'm gonna get to that in a second. I asked him who he was talking to, and he said, "You nigger." And this is when he punched him in the face through the car window and took off on his bike. So he rode to whatever building he was going to. I don't know if that was his home or not, but I'm so sorry. So sorry. I believe it was his home, but anywho, he rode his bike here. He got to the stairs. He's about to pick up his bike to walk down the stairs to his apartment when Mr. Jason Cleereman runs up on him and lunges at him, which is what makes him shoot, because he's scared, don't know what this man is trying to do to him. So he shoots him at this point. And that's pretty much the defense story in a nutshell. Now, defense also pointed out during his opening statements that the state conveniently cannot produce the video of the very first encounter, which is of them almost running Mr. Edgecomb, I'm sorry. Of Mrs. Cleereman about to run Mr. Edgecomb over on his bike off the road. The video they provide, the state, literally starts at him riding his bike up to the car and punching Mr. Cleereman in the face. Now, I will say, looking on the video, it does look as though Theodore Edgecomb said something to him before he punched him in the window. You see that on there. He didn't ride up and just boop. It's a pause before it's a boop. And then you see him punch. You see him get back, get his feet back on the pedals and get the paddle in the way. Now, the defendants, you see her swerving, driving, trying to catch him. You see her turning the corner aggressively. You see that, because it was aggressively. You see him open the car door before she even gets to a complete stop to hop out of it. And he starts walking and quickly begins running to even catch up to Theodore Edgecomb, because he done gone on about his business. And then when he catches up to him, it does look as though he lunged at him and he was shot and dropped, pretty much. Now, the video stops when a red SUV pull up to the side of the Cleereman's truck that Mrs. Cleereman is still sitting in after her husband was shot. The video cuts. There's no footage of the investigators out there investigating, the ambulance picking up the body, none of that. The state provided none of those videos. They are claiming The videos were lost. They were not able to get them. So he brought all that out in his opening statements. Now, trial begins. So the detectives pretty much answered the standard questions of what they saw when they were on the scene and all of this. Now, the second officer to testify, he stated that he actually saw the coroner's office lady pull a knife out of Mr. Cleereman's pocket. And it was stated that she pulled it out of his right pocket. Now, the thing about that to me was important is when the defense cross-examined, they showed him a picture of of Jason Cleereman's pockets turned inside out, so you can see the inside of the pockets. And it is a small stain that could be a blood stain, but we wouldn't know because they never tested it. Never tested it to see what it was at all, but this stain is in the pocket where the knife was. Now, the reason this is important because something else the defense brought up in their opening statement is that Mrs. Cleereman, who just witnessed her husband be shot to death, gets out of the car 6 seconds after her husband has hit the ground. She goes over to his body, she's fooling around on his body, and then she's back in her car. She doesn't stand there and try to hold nothing at his wounds, and she never calls the police. Weird. But I'm thinking that since she was probably drunk, like her husband, who was 1.5 over the legal limit drunk, they come to find out they also had open bottles in the car, which they're claiming is not there in court to show the proof or anything. The thing that's disturbing me so far in this case is how many things the defense has been able to bring out that the police didn't even investigate, and it's a murder case. And you would think they would investigate every single detail they possibly could for a murder case. They didn't even test the knife that was found in his pocket because they saying since they didn't see blood on it, they didn't see a reason to test it. Okay. So, after that police officer testified, you have the first eyewitness. And I do not have his name. I'm hoping I can get it so that for the next video I can tell y'all what his name was. But what I found disturbing is when this witness came into court, he had on the prison attire and he was handcuffed. So basically he's in jail. And so now you're wondering, why is your witness in jail? Let me tell you why. Apparently the prosecution did not believe he would show up to testify today, so they put a warrant out for his arrest and had him arrested. An African-American man. Now, the defense asked him, do you know why the prosecution seemed to not believe or couldn't serve you the subpoena that they would believe you wouldn't show up to court? And he said, no, I never ignored them. He said he had been communicating with the man every time he called. He explained to the man that at the time that he wanted him to come pick up his subpoena, he could not because he runs his own business and have 6 children to take care of. So when he had free time, he would come get it. And guess what? The man kept his word, because when he had free time, he went to get his subpoena. He said he had every intention of coming to court, that he didn't have a problem testifying. So he went to go get a subpoena, and when he does, this is when they arrest him. I find this disturbing on so many levels. How do you expect this man to testify for you after you had him arrested? A man that clearly told you he had his own business he ran and 6 children. But hey, I guess F him and his family and business, right? Right. You can tell he felt away, and of course anybody would feel away. Testifying, the thing is, his testimony helped the defense. To me, more so than the prosecution, if you ask me. But I guess you could say he kind of helped both in a way. Number one, he did witness. He did shoot him. But number two, he admitted he did lunge at him. He ran up on him and lunged at him. He did see that too. Number three, he couldn't see a weapon in anyone's hand. Not Mr. Cleereman's and not Mr. Edgecomb's. He didn't see the gun. And he didn't see the knife. He didn't see nothing in either one of their hands because it was so dark in the corner they were in. So, to me, the point goes to the defense, because he definitely helped establish he ran up on Theodore Edgecomb. Mr. Cleereman, plain as day on the camera, ran up on him, and the witness admit he ran up on him. He also admit he did see Mrs. Cleereman go to his body, and that he couldn't understand why she was so calm when he felt like he was more hysterical than she was about witnessing the shooting, because he ends up getting out of his vehicle and actually seeing the body on the ground. He didn't understand why she was so calm. He and the next witness after him are two of the people who end up calling the police, because again, his wife really never did. Never called the police. Nope. So anywho, now the next witness that they had on the stand, I'm sorry y'all, give me a second. Okay, so the next one to take the stand, he's a business owner in the neighborhood there who also witnessed the shooting, but he didn't walk up on it, so he witnessed it from a distance. And he actually tried to get away with saying that he didn't see him run up on him or jog. He was clearly walking to him. So now you sound about crazy at this point, because we all are physically looking at a video where this man literally takes off into a run. And you want to call this a walk? Even the prosecutor had to say, you sure about that? Because you cannot deny that this man, whether you want to call it jogging or running, he definitely was not walking. Period. To me, he was being difficult with the prosecution and the defense. I don't think he wanted to testify at all. I don't think he wanted to be there at all. Period. To me, he wasn't cooperating with anyone. But he also, to me, wasn't even telling the truth. And then a lot of the questions he was asked, his answer was, he don't remember. He didn't understand. He don't remember. He don't understand. He can't recall. The defense had to actually put up recordings of his interview to say, okay, this is what you talked to the officer, and he's saying, I don't recall. So they play it and say, now do you recall? Yeah, I recall now. I almost feel like the prosecution although I know they probably did not have a choice, but needed to have them there since they were actual physical eyewitnesses, I wouldn't have called them. I wouldn't have. Anywho, the doctor who testified, oh, by the way, the two officers, they were not the officers in charge of investigating the case. And apparently the officer that was in charge of investigating the case is not available to testify. Which sends your antennas up, right? I ain't done. The doctor from the coroner's office that testified is not the doctor who did the autopsy. He read it, studied it, but he didn't perform it. So he had to go off of the notes the coroner who did it wrote, because he not available. So I guess these people can't be hauled into jail to testify, but the civilians out here, we can. I find this quite disturbing. I don't know about y'all. Let me know if you do too. But I feel it's disturbing. Anywho, moving along. He testifies that he was definitely had to be very close to Theodore Edgecomb, the way the what they call it, stifling, the burn. He was so close, certain things was burnt on him, type of situations. So anyway, he established that basically, again, I feel something that goes into a point for the defense. He was up in his personal space, period. The female officer who collected some of the footage, she testified, and she collected some footages from the stores that's on this street. Now, apparently on this street, the state have cameras on dang near every lamppost on the street, even though they missing all this video I told you about earlier. Anyway, this police officer that was on the stand, I guess she went to like the stores along the street to get videos from that. Now, let's say this. They have, the defense in their opening statement is saying they have the proof that that particular day was a father-daughter date night. So he was getting his daughter to have a date night with her. She wanted sushi. So that was the whole reason Theodore Edgecomb even got on his bike to leave his home. He went to get sushi for him and his daughter for dinner. Now, the sushi place he ordered the sushi from, oh, he went there. He ordered it and paid for it. They told him 45 minutes. So that's why he left there to go get ice cream a little further down the street. So that would be their dessert after their sushi. But of course, according to the defense, the Cleereman's almost runs him off the road at this point, which starts the saga that we ended up with Mr. Cleereman dead in the end. So far, my personal opinion, I believe Mr. Edgecomb's story. I also cannot believe that the state is choosing to prosecute this case without a thorough investigation. I feel like it wasn't a thorough investigation. I don't. Because if this is to me, you can't get more serious than a murder versus what, a serial killer murder. A murder is serious. So therefore, you would think they would get every single detail of everything they could possibly get to win their case. I feel like they handpicked parts of the videos they felt would help them, and that's what we're dealing with. And the rest of the videos that mysteriously have disappeared, deleted, or couldn't be recovered. Blah, blah, blah. Bull. If you ask me in the end. If this trial really has me on the edge of my seat, I can't wait to see what happens next. Tomorrow will be day 3, which will be Friday, the 21st. I can't wait to see what's going to be let out then. But I just feel like so far, the prosecution is helping prove the defense basically, and what they're saying. It's a lot of bull and some sneakiness going on around on that end right there. For real. Yeah. For real. I think that the prosecution might be thinking that because Mr. Theodore Combs had past trouble legally and that he's a felon, that automatically makes him guilty, period, and let's lock him up, throw away the key. They have rights too. And the bottom line is, for me, the reason I believe the story the way it is because, like I said, you could tell he says something to Mr. Cleereman. I believe he is asking him who he was talking to. And I believe that is why he punched him, because he called him out his name. I believe him and his wife was very drunk and being basically a drunk and belligerent person like most people are, except for they were in their car doing it. Yeah. I believe that he probably did have the knife in his hand. I believe his wife probably did close it and put it back in his pocket. I believe that's why I didn't have no blood on it, because when he lunged at him and he was shot in the face, his hands was out, not close to his head. So I believe that's why the knife doesn't have any blood on it at all. Yeah. Sure do. And yeah, that's what I believe. I also believe that she knew he was in the wrong for what he did, and that's why she never called the police. But however, guess what? They do say she called a friend, a female friend, who has a boyfriend or family member, not sure which, on the police force. Yeah. So I'm also curious when they gonna tell us who was in the red SUV who pulled alongside her car, which she might have been handing things off to. Especially if they're drunk. They got open containers in the car. Come on now. So, yeah, I pretty much will be keeping you up to date on what's happening each day in the trial. So that was day 1 and 2 of the trial. Tomorrow will be the 3rd day, Friday, and then they're off on the weekend. So I will let you know what happened on Friday in the next video, which might not be until like Tuesday. So I'll give you Friday and Monday in Tuesday's video. Anywho, if you made it to the end of my video, thank you for caring enough to watch. And again, please don't forget to subscribe, like, comment if you feel the need to, share, and hit that notification bell on your way out so you can be made aware every time I upload a video. Thank you so much and have a wonderful evening. Mwah.
I swear